We gave you the Women's Lacrosse Awards. We have more guests coming your way. Allie was tremendous.
Yeah, we did.
And Wes, now we're going to go the Freshman of the Year in the Atlantic Coast Conference is joining us next.
Yep, Belle Smith from Boston College. And pretty simple with Belle. What's it like to be first team All-ACC, All-ACC Freshman, and Freshman of the Year in such a prestigious lacrosse league?
It's amazing, honestly. Going off of only playing my junior year of high school, and then next step, I'm in ACC tournament. It's just crazy to think that I got ACC Player of the Year and ACC First Team. I'm really proud of that, but I'm also really grateful and humbled by the competition in the ACC. Every ACC player and team is so competitive. And I just think the reason my level of play has gotten better over the past year is because of being surrounded by all this competitiveness. So I think a huge reason for these honors is the competitive energy around me on my team, in my whole team itself at Boston College. Every player makes me better. And then also my surrounding players that I'm competing against.
We've talked about Charlotte North a lot this year, and I know you've watched her play, and I'm sure, again, you're so accomplished with so many sports at high school, which we'll get to later on. But you mentioned that, hey, you're humbled by the award, and it's been fun to participate. But watching Charlotte North play and the tandem that you two have, what have you learned watching her game that you've been able to incorporate this year?
That's easy. I would just say don't have fear, play fearless. I've honestly never seen someone not only with the skill set of Charlotte, but also the confidence. And I think that's a huge contributor to how she performs on the field. And that's something I learned from her, especially coming in as a freshman. There's a lot of fear there, especially playing in the ACC. Every team, every player is amazing. So I think that I've learned from her, just play with confidence, like worst comes to worst, you make a mistake, you try and get the ball back, and also just the celebration she has and the excitement she has when she's on the field. It's contagious to every single player on the team. I mean, if you're watching these highlight reels right now, if you watch the way she celebrates after every goal, like she just finds a way to get every single player on the field fired up after everything. And that just contributes to the excitement on and off the field and the connections we make as a team.
Belle, when something like that happens, and here you are, a younger player now at BC in your first year, how much do you now feel like kind of the responsibility of the program, right? Because you see older players that have had kind of this development, and I know Coach Walker Weinstein has done such a marvelous job with the program, period, but now the program feels like it's yours, right? Even after the first year.
Yeah, I think going off of great achievements like this, you feel that pressure. But I also feel like I'm a type of player that plays better under pressure. A huge thing at BC is the culture behind the past players that created this culture. I mean, only a few years ago, BC wasn't looked at as one of those top programs. So yes, our team got us here, but it was also the people before us, Sam Apuzzo, Dempsey Arsenal. So a big thing for our team is to play for those alumni that got us here. So I think after getting these awards and only being a freshman, a big thing for me is playing for those people that got us to this point, the point where we do get recognized like other teams do. So I think there's a lot of pressure there, and that is sometimes nervous, especially as a younger player, but it's also exciting. Many players don't get that pressure. So I think when you are a player that does, that should be exciting to you because you're being recognized.
Belle, I know you still have classes to attend to because that's why you go to college, and you can't cut any corners at BC making that transition as a freshman. But what about the anticipation of this weekend coming up, the selection show, and where do we play? I mean, we're talking about all these individual awards, and you've been great. Charlotte North's been great. Your team's had success, but it is a team sport. What about the anticipation this weekend about, all right, we're getting ready for the big picture?
Yeah, totally. I'm so anxious, and it's so tough because this is finals week. So my head really needs to be in class and studying. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, selection shows soon. Like the big day is soon, like tournament. So there's a lot of anxiousness, honestly. Nerves, frustration comes along with it. I thought these next 2 weeks, like growing up, I always imagined these next 2 weeks of like the NCAA tournament. And so I'm so ready for lacrosse, but it's also just like really frustrating. And there's a lot of anxiety that comes with it too. And I never really anticipated that part of the NCAA tournament and the finals week all mixed into one. But I'm just trying to take it day by day, keep my head on straight, focus on class right now. I mean, our game's in 2 weeks. So just trying to get my finals done, and that way I can focus in on all lacrosse.
All right, Belle, I want to ask you about West Hampton Beach, New York, because Pack and I talk about going to all these cool places. Although I'm getting ready to, I'm thinking that because Pack and I talk about going to all these cool places, but West Hampton Beach doesn't have more than about 1,700 people, as I understand it. So the village has got to be pretty cool. Doesn't sound like a lot of folks hang out there except for about 4 or 5 months a year. So the rest of the time it's got to be pretty quiet. That would be pretty serene, huh?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I love my town. I love where I grew up. What I love about West Hampton is 8 months of the year, the only people that really live there are your friends in your school and those families. And I think that was honestly a really big thing for me growing up, especially with sports and academics, because every single person in the community is supporting you. They're right behind you in everything that you do. So we have a huge supporting cast at West Hampton Beach, everyone caring for one another, everyone knowing each other, everyone knowing each other's business. So I'm constantly focused on doing the right thing. And then in the summer, it's a completely different town. A bunch of people come out from the city. It's so busy. So I just love the different dynamics of, like, it almost feels like two different towns in the summer and the winter. And it's really fun that month of June, seeing the crowds flood in. It's really fun.
Belle, I mentioned that we were going to get to your high school in a second. I know you've had a great freshman year at BC, and there's nothing better than your years in college. However, it needs to be addressed, because I'm going to read these, because when I first saw this stat, I said, well, that can't be right. So you were a 4-time All-County and 3-time All-State selection in volleyball. You were a 4-time All-County selection in basketball. You got the high school record for career digs at over 2,000. All-time leading scorer in basketball with 1,735 points. To say you love sports and excel at it is almost ridiculous. Is there a sport that you tried that you said, you know what, I'm actually not very good in this? Because it sounds like everything you touch turns to gold.
Well, that's definitely not true. It's come with a lot of time and work. I'm trying to think. I never really was into soccer. I'm not really sure why, because never was a thing in my family. Volleyball, my dad played East Coast 2-man pro beach volleyball. So that was just always like an instinctual thing. Like I always knew I wanted to play volleyball in high school. I feel like basketball, it was fun to excel at basketball because it's very similar to lacrosse. I don't know. I feel like it just came with a lot of work ethic. My teams were so close that it made it fun to win, because you never wanted the seasons to end. So I feel like that was a big thing for me when playing, like fighting to keep the season going as long as it could.
Golf, tennis, softball, that never appealed to you? Or you just said, I don't have time to win in all those sports?
I played softball in like 3rd grade. I was a pitcher, but that's really as far as it went.
All right. Well, you've done a great job.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here's my last question. I'm as curious about somebody from the island and New York living in Boston as a college student, knowing that you like sports as much as you do, because there's a Yankees Red Sox thing, there's a Giants Patriots thing. I mean, do you keep a low profile? How do you handle it?
I really hope no one from New York sees this, because they'll judge me, but I'm a huge Patriots fan, actually. I really didn't want to say that on here. I know. Big Tom Brady fan. Baseball, I'm not really huge on either one, but since I'm in Boston now, I guess I have to go with the Red Sox. Boston's taking my identity. It's taking it.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. Before we let you go, we ask this to every student athlete, and now that you're working on finals, since you've been at BC this first year, what has been your hardest class?
This is going to sound kind of funny since I'm a student athlete, but I have to take a core class, and it's theater, and it's actually really hard, and I have to act a lot, and I think that's even makes it a lot more stressful, so I'd have to go with theater.
Theater, that is a first. After 378 shows, we've never had that answer as theater. So, I just figured you could expect that. You're right. I figured you could just act this out the next time you score a goal. Maybe, hey, let's go do some theatrics with the stick and everything else. You can tie them all in together.
Yeah, send it in to my teacher, try and get a grade for it.
Right, exactly. Well, listen, congratulations. You've done a great job, and good luck in the postseason during the NCAA tournament.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.